Recording in progress.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we've got a very special guest. Her name is Dr. Melanie Icard, and we call her Dr. Mel. She's a naturopathic physician, mind body medicine expert, and creator of the Biohacked Heart Blueprint, a groundbreaking terrain based approach to cardiovascular health that goes far beyond cholesterol and medications. After 10 or more years in clinical practice, hosting international healing retreats and working with thousands of patients, she's known for blending cutting edge metabolic science, nervous system regulation, trauma healing, and spiritual wisdom into practical, repeatable systems that actually work. Dr. Mel, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm really excited to have this conversation because it's really in line with what we do out here at our nonprofit that we call Gardens of Hope. And we work with a number of healers and physicians and practitioners that it seems, based on what I'm looking at, are very much in line with your thoughts. Um, as we get started, I like to kind of hear how our guests get involved in the work they're doing. You seem kind of young to be so wise. I'd like to hear your story.
Well, I love that. And I am kind of young, but I do have a baby face. So I'm 43. I have a grown son that's 22. So I'm,
All
I'm a
right.
little bit I'm a little bit older than I look. But I grew up kind of just regular, American, our mom would take us, once in a while. I'm an 80s baby, so once in a while through the drive-through at McDonald's or Wendy's,
Sure.
and we were like, score, right?
Yeah.
But I think that she was always a little bit health conscious. And what we're seeing now these days is sometimes what the TV is telling us isn't actually what maybe we ought to be doing, right? But she was very like get feeding us chicken all the time,
Right.
and afraid of red meat and stuff like that. And I remember, I mean, most of my life I was terrified to eat butter, Joe. I was not anymore. I'm all in now. I'm all in, but I was terrified to eat butter. And
Right,
what
right.
happened?
Margarine and all the low fat, low
I was
everything,
like, I
right?
can't believe it's not butter, but what is it?
Yeah, what is it exactly? It's industrial lubricant.
And you're like, how come we can't have country crock like the neighbors? And what is that? No.
Yeah, I hear you.
So it was just really regular. But my mother, unfortunately, got really, really sick with breast cancer.
Okay.
And she was 33, right? So back then in the 90s, like
Wow.
33-year-old young women weren't getting breast cancer. I know it's more common these days. And so if you've ever been through that with yourself or anyone, no one just dies of cancer. It's a whole journey, and it's a lot, right? And it's
Just a point of acknowledgement. I'm recovering from a very aggressive cancer. A year and a half ago, I had a giant tumor sticking out of my neck. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly, exactly. And you know what? My mom was very sweet. She did everything they told her to do, and it was
Yeah.
just a long process of declining and then passing away, right?
Um,
And I went through this whole process with her because I'm the second oldest, I'm the only girl, and she had a baby. So I had to
wow.
stay home. I didn't even go to school, Joe, and take care of my
Wow.
mother and her baby. That's what I did when I was in sixth grade.
Wow.
And so we went through this whole process, which did end up me losing my mother. And then I got moved from being with my mother to being with my father. And that was quite a move because we're from Alaska. And
Oh,
my
wow.
father happened to be living in Mexico, right?
Oh,
So I got shipped from Alaska to Mexico and to a new family. And man, did my dad meanwhile, but he was really clueless. So like a little girl or any kid that loses their mother and it's a loving mother, that's a huge loss. So that was like the big thing. And on
yeah.
top of that, dad, although he didn't explain anything to us, he was a health nut.
Oh,
And
really?
back then nobody was a health nut, right? Everyone was like,
Right.
right. So we would call it rant and rave, about he didn't like us having cow milk. He didn't like NutraSweet. He didn't like MSG. And we're just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
he's so annoying, right? And then to kick it off, he would do these 10-day juice cleanses. Nobody
Oh,
was doing
wow.
that, right,
Yeah.
in the 90s. And we're like, wait, you're not going to eat food for 10 days, dad? Weird. And then he'd be cranky from the detox the first 2 days. So all of us kids just thought he was a nut, right?
Right, right.
And it wasn't until I have that big boy now, I got pregnant with him and I said, well, wait a minute, maybe dad's onto something here. Like maybe like what you put in your body and what's in your environment is important, because I would hate for this kid to lose his mother, because
Right.
I've kind of felt like I always had to be like a cat and land on my
Yeah.
feet, because I didn't have like that person that always has your back.
Right.
And so that actually dream came true, right? Like here I am at 43 and my son's 22. He still has his mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I went to my dad in humble and I said, I'm sorry. I know we made fun of you a lot and we teased you, but I really need to know how to be healthy because I don't want my
Yeah.
kid to lose his mom. And then that was the beginning of this holistic health journey for me.
Wow. What a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful story that it really kind of both came from both of your parents in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I hope that my kids find some of that from me. And, I guess we all want that, right?
Yeah, yeah, and the same thing with my kid, and then that was another gift, right? Because he actually is a little bit autistic,
Okay.
and that was a gift for me because I really got to learn patience. Because
Yeah.
if you know anyone from my family, they would always say, "Oh, that Melanie, she's so impatient. She wants everything now." And now I'm probably the most patient one, and so that was a gift from God to get a son that
Right.
would teach me patience. But he would have a lot of problems with inflammation and stuff, and he was very unreceptive to me as the naturopathic mother,
Uh-huh.
and it led in combination with other things to a deep depression, right? Because inflammation is a huge
Sure.
driver of
Oh, yeah.
depression. And do you want to do this detox with us? No. Do you want to do this with us? No. Right? No, no, no. And one time I got him to do this Tony Robbins detox thing with me, which is like, I don't know if it's like a 5 or a 7 day, but they have you
Mhm.
do a whole nutritional cleanse and the ice bath. And for some miracle of God, he decided to do it. And I'll tell you what,
Wow.
if that didn't completely reset him mentally, emotionally, and physically, and now he does more nutrition research than I do. Like he's sending me
Wow.
cool stuff because his mind works in a different way all the
Right.
time that I'm so happy to find. And it was like he needed that. And now he knows that when he gets in a funk, all he does is he just does a 3 day fast. He does a 3 day water
Yeah,
fast,
yeah.
and it's like a hard reset.
I am the hardest advocate of a 3-day water fast. I think it's the most powerful tool you got if you got one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing that I tell people too. If especially if you've got weird GI stuff, just stop eating. Just give it a
Right.
break. Give it a rest. Just trust me.
100%. 100%. So through all this, from point A to point B, you went to medical school.
I did.
Went
I
from I
did.
didn't go to school till now I'm in higher education and really the highest learning there is. So that's a pretty
Yeah.
wide
Full
spectrum.
spectrum, full
Yeah.
spectrum, right?
Love
It's
it.
the school of hard knocks and then,
Right.
a real PhD.
Right. Right.
And I was really blessed. So I went in, and I was thinking I wanted to treat cancer, right? Because of my
Sure.
history. So I made sure that I made best friends with like the cancer doctor, and she was going to have me on her shift, got in there. And
Nice.
then I found that there was something missing at that program at that time, right? Because yeah, they had all these amazing vitamin C IVs, blah blah blah. You
Right.
know, but everybody was miserable.
Yeah.
Everybody I talked to, like they basically told me they knew they were going to die, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
huh. So this isn't working over here. Like I'm not feeling the way this is going, and that I did find that I really got into mind body medicine. So I
Nice.
jumped around and tried different things. Like I there was this really amazing like Cavalier doctor, old school doctor, and she would do home births for like 30 years,
Wow.
and so I thought I wanted to do that. But yes, pregnancy and birth is really cool. The lady was really cool, I think is what it was. But
Right.
babies come whenever they want. And I'm a person that
Right.
loves to take naps and sleep 8 hours at night. And I was like, you know what? This is a hard no for me. Like this is giving me anxiety.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and so I said this is for somebody else that doesn't like sleeping as much as I do,
Right. Right.
and then everyone at school was really excited about prolotherapy. Are you
Okay.
familiar with prolotherapy?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like regenerative injections that heal
Huh?
joints. So it's like instead
Right.
of just having a bad shoulder, having arthritis, getting steroid shots that don't really work, it
Yeah.
actually can like tighten the tendons and
Yeah.
build joint space and basically bring your own stem cells in and rebuild the joint. So
Exactly.
so I decided to go check out this seminar on that and all this regenerative medicine in Las Vegas because now I was lost. I'm like, I don't want to do cancer, I don't want to do babies, I don't know what I'm doing, right? And I go there and it was so cool because everything they were talking about just sounded like magic.
Right.
Like it was really healing people. And then they would break us up into small groups. There'd be lecture and there'd be hands-on. And
Yeah.
so I found this doctor that ended up being a mentor of mine. And I said, I don't know where to go because there was like 12 groups. She goes, come with me. So we went over here and this doctor, teacher said, oh, I love teaching C-section scars. Who's got a C-section scar? And I was like, I don't want a C-section scar. Kind of a mistake, but it was divinely planned, right? Because then here I am, this medical student, and what happens? I have to be in my underwear in front of
Right,
everybody.
right.
I don't know, right? I'm like, oh gosh, this is terrible, right?
Yeah.
And he's telling me, Melanie, this scar never healed, and I'm like, I don't care, just like let's wrap this up. I want to put my pants on, right?
Right, right.
And he's like, well, you see how it's big and pink on the sides? This should be a small white line, and I'm like, let's go, dude.
Yeah.
And then he's telling me when we inject scars hold a lot of emotions in them.
I
So
bet.
you might get memories coming back to you. You might start crying. So just be ready for that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's go. And then he's telling me, and you've got adhesions from this scar all the way up to the top of your rib cage by your sternum.
Whoa.
And I'm all, whatever, I'm like, let's go. I'm embarrassed, So then he injects it and I immediately start crying. And I remember going to the hospital when I had to have my son because I had to have a C-section. I had never been to the hospital before.
Wow.
I somehow got the new nurse where she like had a tourniquet on my arm and like an
Oh
IV in my
no.
vein and nothing connected to it. So my blood's like squirting like through the
Oh
sky.
no.
And I'm going, oh, is this normal? Is this, excuse me, ma'am? Is this supposed to be happening? Right. And so it was
Wiping
a
blood
very
off her glasses. Yeah.
weird foreign experience for me. And I blocked all of it out until he injected that scar in, right?
Yeah.
Then he finishes it up and I get dressed and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then the next morning, I kid you not, Joe, the pink on the sides of the scar, it was all folded up into one white line. Like
Whoa.
and I had
Dude.
inflammation all the way up to my rib cage where he said I had adhesions. And that's when I was like, regenerative medicine is for real. I need to find out as much about this as I possibly can. And I went on the
Yeah.
mentor and the workshop hunt. And that's what really lit the fire.
Now you're on a mission from God.
Yeah, I was like, wow, some of this stuff is really for real. And then and
Yeah.
then it's like,
Yeah.
and it's constantly like you're in this field. I'm constantly learning stuff and
Oh
getting
yeah.
amazed by stuff every day. Like I started this journey my 23 years ago when I was pregnant with my son. I
Yeah.
learned stuff every day. I even relearned stuff that I forgot about,
Mhm.
and then it circles back in. And it's a constant thing. And then we have new things that we have to kind of conquer, like there was like the whole COVID thing, the pandemic thing, this
Right.
long COVID. There's new things, there's air pollution, there's new things we have to learn. Well, like, how do we overcome this?
Right. Yeah. It's seems like there's a dichotomy going on because at one time, at one element, we're learning so much and knowledge is increasing exponentially, but also are the consequences of our actions and all the environmental problems and all of the global food supply problems, all the gut problems, and plus we're understanding problems too. So that opens up whole nother doors. When I was a kid, we were just hyperactive. Now we're on the spectrum and neurodivergent and all of these things. We didn't know those words back then. We were just hyperactive kids. And the gut biome, we didn't know anything about that. And now it's, this gigantic field that I think they're just scratching the surface of.
Yeah, and that is a pillar in my biohacked heart blueprint is the gut, right? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of like weird initially to make the connection, but all of our guts are kind of inflamed, right?
Yeah.
They're out of balance, and then that leaks out and causes systemic inflammation, which can affect your blood pressure and your arteries, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
might seem weird. Why am I going to do something for my gut when I'm working on my blood pressure or my heart? Well, it's all
Right.
connected. And that's kind of what I'm trying to teach and bring out there, because it's a system of systems. So we've been in this like kind of real boxed in, like, we don't like that cholesterol, let's squish it down, or we don't like that blood
Right.
pressure, let's squish it down. But what's going on? Why is the high blood pressure high, or the cholesterol high, or is it even really high? Those are the things that we don't look at when we just focus on squishing those numbers down. And if you work on the systems and you clean up the terrain, the body heals itself. It's kind of amazing.
Well, I think part of the problem, and you going through medical school, the institution of medicine is sponsored by pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
And I'm not against pharmaceuticals by any means, but their driver is different from the naturopath's driver.
Yeah, you know what I say? Because a lot of times people they go for a regular checkup. Oh, your blood pressure's a little high. Maybe we'll give you a little, lisinopril or a losartan,
Yeah,
or
give it
name
some
name a
medicine.
drug,
Right,
and then you just move on with your life. and
right,
and I say that's the midpoint. So just stopping there is like having your family vacation at the truck stop.
exactly.
That's lame.
You got to go after the source. Yeah. And so, you went through classical medical training where they teach you, physiology, and they teach you, drug protocols and things like that, but they don't really talk about holistic approach, at least as far as I've heard. I've talked to, my dad was a surgeon, and I've talked to many, many, many physicians, and I get into their training, and it's like, your body healing itself really isn't so much part of the training.
No. No, and that, I mean, like, honestly, actually, so I was in conventional medicine um for like 11 or 15 years, and then I
Yeah.
went to naturopathic medical school, right? So I've done both.
Nice.
And I almost fell out of my chair when I was new at naturopathic medical school, and they had these like lunch and learns, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I reversed my diabetes." I was like, "What?
Yeah,
Hold the
yeah.
phone." Right. And I can't even say, if I say that on social media, they always like shadow ban me and stuff. But you probably know people that now
Oh,
we know that you can unwind this stuff, right? But
just
back
about
then,
every disease you can reverse if you put your body, the thing is the disease is an out of balance. It's a,
yes.
or you're given a pathogen an opportunity to thrive. And either one of the two or both of those things are happening. So if you can take your body and create an environment where the pathogen or the cancer can't survive, well, guess what? It doesn't. And if you
Yeah.
can put your body back into some kind of a homeostasis where its parts, its organs, its systems can start to do what they're supposed to do, it just puts you back together. Like you got the code in you how to do it. You just kind of forget.
Right. And if we make it really simple, it's just we got to take the garbage out and put,
Right.
the good stuff that we're deficient in, and then
Yeah.
just voila.
It's so true. And simple doesn't mean easy, but simple means simple. And the way you describe it sounds super simple, right?
Right. And the mind always wants to complicate things.
Right.
That's part of the problem too, because a lot of the problem is us, like we get in
Right.
the way, right?
Most of
I
the
mean,
problem is us. Yeah.
number one problem is patient non-compliance or self-sabotage.
100%. 100%. I've learned some things about cancer that have healed me and others who have done it. But when I share it with people and doctors, they look at me like, well, I'm not doing that. And it's just like, wow, okay, I don't know what to say there,
I know, they're just not ready yet. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's the thing. So it's the new habits. It's because the mind gets so attached to things. So like one thing that is getting a little bit more press these days is sleep is so
yeah.
important. It's literally a pillar of health, but we've compartmentalized it and like shoved it over there, right? And just
So
been like,
important. It's like
yeah,
your body fixes itself while you're sleeping, and that's about the only time it does that. And then
yeah,
we
and
put it
so many
off. Oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead. It's like, well, you're gonna be
yeah,
dead pretty quick if you don't sleep.
yes, yeah, the night owls. I
Yeah,
just tell them, I spent a long time on the why it's important.
Yeah.
because they're so attached to their habits. And then it's like, and then you just have to watch your language because your mind loves to grab onto things. So if you say, oh, I've always been a night owl, or I've never been a great sleeper, then your mind goes, oh yeah, we're into this. Like we're gonna hang
Right.
on to this not sleeping thing.
Right.
So just
Right.
kind of notice when you say that and pause, and you could say, I like the thumb over the shoulder. I used to,
Right.
just to kind of catch myself when I want to say things that I don't want to keep doing in my life.
Well, tell me about the biohacked heart blueprint. That sounds exciting.
Oh, it is exciting. And also, the crazy thing is, it's kind of simple, but the
Hmm.
results are amazing, right? So, this protocol was born for a client of mine. And it's really funny because it was probably one of my worst clients. He would show up once a year, sort of on a health kick. He never wanted to listen to any of the lifestyle or the nutrition stuff, right? So, I said, oh, hey, nice to see you again. And he was pretty upset because he was told that he had been stacking plaque in his heart
Uh-huh.
arteries, and they wanted to do some procedures on him to open that up, and he was not feeling that. He was getting a hard no on that. And lucky for us, because a lot of people would get scared when told that and jump on the operating table, right?
Right. Right.
Right, because it's scary. Well, luckily for us, this guy had a strong personality, and he's like, I don't think so.
I'm not
Give
doing
me
it.
2 months. And then he came to see me. And he
Yeah.
said, I know I didn't listen in the past, but I'm real serious right now because I don't want to do that. They gave me 2 months. What do you got for me? And I said, okay, and was just present with him, and it just kind of came in like that. It was different tools that we had been using over the last decade, but in a
Hmm.
certain combination and frequency. And that's how the protocol was born, right? Like, and he was on board. We had to learn how to balance his glucose and his insulin. We had to detox. We had to balance that out of balance calcium, and then we did certain IV therapies for increasing oxygenation and
Nice.
disinflaming and making the cells work better, and all of that combo makes the plaque go away, right? And I was really actually surprised that after the 2 months he was excused from needing any surgical procedure. I was like,
Wow.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it almost seemed too simple. And like I said, he was literally in the running for my worst patient, out of
Ah,
thousands. And I said,
yeah.
wow, if that works great for him, it'll work great for other
Yeah.
people.
Just somebody a little more compliant, right?
Yeah. And of course he was happy because,
Oh,
and
yeah.
here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, and I don't think people know this in general, but the stents, they actually cause the body, they will open up a tube, right? They will,
Sure.
but they actually cause your body to want to make more plaque and
Oh,
more
no.
inflammation by being placed. So if you're
I know
not in
that.
a dire situation, I would encourage you to be like this fella and ask for 2 months and get serious about changing some of those habits, because it's just going to make more work for you to keep disinflamed once they put the stents in. And that's kind of the double-edged sword of that
Right,
situation,
right. Well,
Yeah.
we learn a lot of these, standard of care procedures have a double edge to them. And, they might, handle an acute problem, but they're going to maybe lead to a chronic problem in the future. And, or, there's so many ways it can go. Now, you talk about oxygen, that's a big part of my protocol
Oh,
is
really?
therapy. Yeah. And I go at it from a number of different ways, from, heat to exercise to
Mm-hmm.
ozone to,
Ozone's my favorite.
oh, good. I was hoping so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I love ozone. In fact, I make ozonated glycerin is one of the tools that I use, and I use it all the time. But I was looking to invest in an eBoost system at one point and just wasn't able to pull it off. But I know we don't have a whole lot of time to get into all that, but I'd like to have you back to talk about that at one point.
Oh, absolutely. I have been an ozone girl since medical school. And that was
Oh,
one of
I
the
love it.
things. Yeah, I'll just tell you really quick because I was a single mom that worked and had a kid with autism and decided to go to medical school, right? Go
Right,
figure.
right.
So I was exhausted. And I would go and do those vitamin IVs. Some places call them the
Yeah, yeah,
Myers
sure.
IVs every 2 weeks, and I would feel it pick me up, right? So I
Yeah,
would I would just schedule it like clockwork. Then I got a really cool mentor because I went looking
yeah,
for those cool mentors,
right.
and he was doing ozone
I
with the
love it.
ultraviolet light.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those. Man, it felt like doing 10 vitamin IVs. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
if I'm going to sit down to do an IV, you're going to bet it's going to be the
Get a good
ozone
one.
with the
Yeah,
UV
I
light.
love it. I love it. Love it. That's fantastic. I'd also like to hear about your retreats. We host retreats out here at our place, And I think it's a fantastic way that you can accomplish just about anything if you set out to.
Yes. Yeah, the great thing about retreats, I only do small groups because I like
Uh-huh.
everyone to get a connection. I've even had people fall in love on my
Love
retreats,
it.
and they're like the cutest couple, right?
Yeah.
And they're or become family and they're doing Christmas parties and barbecues, and I
Yeah,
love that because it's all about connection, and that's a
absolutely.
big piece that's missing from modern life, right?
Huge.
Is
Yeah,
that
everybody's staring at their little
connection.
square instead of talking.
Yes. And so and I do everything family style, right? We sit at a big
Nice.
table, we say what we're grateful for, we say what went well. I
Yeah,
feed you, the nutritious food that's going to keep your blood sugar in balance, right? So it's a nutritional detox as we're doing all the things.
I love it.
Yeah, I do have a hybrid biohacked heart retreat, which is a 4 day
Nice.
weekend because
All
a
right.
lot of my people they need this, but
Yeah,
part of the habit is they can't pull themselves away from their work and their obligations and the busyness, and that's what's kind of keeping them in that hamster wheel of not reaching their health goals, right? So it's a
exactly.
great way to get your feet wet. It's
Hmm.
just most people can squeeze out a 4 day weekend, right? You
Yeah,
might think
yeah.
you can't, but then you could, right?
Right. No,
And
for
we'll give
sure.
them 2 sets of these power lifter IVs that helped our clients get these amazing results. It's going to make
Nice.
all your cells work better, oxygenate you. You don't get to skip the nervous system reset because we're doing it there together in person, and all of this stuff is equally important, right? Because I've seen people make massive improvements, like crazy improvements, but then they go back to their old coping mechanisms and their old mental patterns, and we backtrack, right? So we have to reset, and that's fine. That's human nature, but it's because the mind is so powerful that we got to keep minding our mind.
Oh, absolutely. And NSR is a powerful tool. We have a practitioner that we work with. She's a Navajo healer, and
Perfect.
she's an incredible NSR practitioner. And she tore me open one time when we did a combo ceremony. So I was sitting with, this medicine that's derived from a frog, and it causes your body it scans your whole body, and then you purge out things and you start
Yeah.
to open your eyes. And then she did this NSR on me, and all of a sudden I'm weeping like a baby in front of people I'd never seen before, and getting in touch with my child that lives inside of me. And I was just like, whoa, and she was
Yeah.
doing this energy work and pulling things. And I don't know exactly what, I was just sitting there getting work done, and powerful, powerful tool.
Oh, I'd love to meet her. That sounds absolutely amazing. And it's like that thing that that people say, but it's true. Like the only way out is in, right?
Yes.
So we're always looking outside of us,
Yeah.
but a huge portion of it is just going inside.
100%. Where are you physically work out of?
So we're out of Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay.
Yep. And so the next biohacked heart retreat is going to be in Sedona, which is
All right.
absolutely fabulous. If you
Oh
haven't been
yeah.
there, oh, it's a
Yeah.
blessing. Yeah. So, and we work with people all over the country. Some people just do the coaching where they can work from their home in Alaska or
Sure.
wherever, and they get massive improvements. And then those that need to do more or want to do more, right? Because a lot of people are more proactive these days. They'll come and visit us in Scottsdale or they'll come to one of the retreats.
Nice. If you ever end up in Southern California, please look me up. I'd love to give you a tour around our garden. We've got a 2.5 acre botanical garden and a little farm, and it's like a little piece of paradise. We have a stream that flows through it, and it's like
Oh.
it's a really healing place. We do a lot of indigenous plant medicine and sacred ceremonies. We have a teepee we put up sometimes, and
Oh, I love that. Yeah, my manager's in Southern California, so maybe we could come visit
I
you
think that would be
sometime.
fantastic. I'd love to host a retreat out here at one point. But if you have so much to offer. Again, I'd really love to have you come back and go deep into some of these things. But if you had one thought to leave this audience with, what do you think that would look like?
The one thought is that the body can heal itself. It's better to be proactive than to be reactive, but people that have already had major events and had weak hearts, not been able to check their mail with simple holistic methods have been able to double the strength of their heart, been able to go from checking the mail to going on a hike with their family. And these are just regular people just like you.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Well, that's powerful. And I hope our listeners listen. We have a wide audience from, practitioners to people that are just figuring out, why do I itch every morning? I mean, whatever it is, the thing. And we've opened a lot of minds. That's the purpose of this podcast, is to create a community of family, and we welcome you to it. Is there a way that our listeners can find you, or do you have anything you'd like to share as far as publication or access?
Yeah, I'm on most social media as Dr. Mel, Dr. Mel Holistic, Holistic. So if you're on any social medias, you can find me there most likely. And I do have a website, and that has a complimentary masterclass. If you're like, I want to know more about this biohacked heart protocol,
Yeah.
it's on there, and that's Dr. Melanie, Melanie iCard, ICARD.com. So go ahead and check that out. And if you're really interested, there's always an opportunity to book a complimentary strategy session if you're not sure what you need.
Beautiful. Well, this has been a riveting conversation. I'd certainly love to go deeper into it. And I just really love the way that you approach this, and I think you're helping a lot of people. And just want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Joe.
Awesome. Well, this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine. I'd like to thank all of our listeners that make this show possible, and we will see you next week.